This is a really risky hiring because what guarantees are we going to say that, yeah, McLaren's going to play good football? There's no backing of it. If you look at a historical standpoint of Steve McClaren, no. So is this more of just a big name? Oh, he was assistant coach at Manchester United. He's worked with Eric Ten Hag. I want to start a petition right now. And all CONCACAF people, you can give your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's remove Jamaica from CONCACAF. Abolish them. They don't need to be here anymore. And let's bring in Greenland. Because the amount of hype, every single window I see for the Reggae Boys. Oh, this guy's coming in. Oh, look at the player we're calling up right now. Oh, we have a new manager. Everything's going to change. And every single window, they underperform. But lately, it's getting bad for the Reggae Boys. And in today's video, I just want to break down their performances in the Gold Cup. I've been watching the Gold Cup. Obviously, haven't been covering it here on the channel, but the games are late, so I rewatched them. And, I'm just saving up my energy for World Cup qualifiers, CONCACAF, that return in September. But Jamaica have been terrible. They have been absolutely outplayed by Guadeloupe, got destroyed by Panama, and got outplayed by Guatemala. Jamaica just beat Guatemala 3-0 in World Cup qualifiers. That first game in the group stage of the Gold Cup where they lost 1-0, Guatemala should have beat them at least 3-0. And the football and the combination play that Guatemala were showcasing compared to Jamaica, the levels were crazy. But then you look at the team sheet, you're like, what? One has foie gras, sirloin steak, wonderful. The other one has a Big Mac and just some terrible fries from Carl's Jr. or something. But the team that had the Carl's Jr. and McDonald's, they outplayed the sirloin steak and foie gras. And I know what Jamaicans are going to do. They're just going to blame the manager. Like they did for Topper Whitmore. Like they did for Hogginson. And they think, oh, yes, we can get rid of Steve McClaren. Once we get rid of him, everything will change. We're going to play better. No. The Guadeloupe game was even worse. Yeah, they won 2-1. If you watch the game, the football that Guatemala and the amount of chances they created, if they were just clinical or just had some composure inside the box, Jamaica would have lost. We would be talking right now about Jamaica having 3 losses in the Gold Cup. With a very strong team on paper that they called up to this Gold Cup. Mikel Antonio somehow survived the horrific car accident he had and is now playing. Obviously coming off the bench, but that's incredible by Mikel Antonio. But then the game against Panama, yeah, they had chances. Jamaica, you ate 4 goals against a Panama side that also rotated players? This Reggae Boys, man. They are like Supreme. Do you guys know the clothing brand Supreme? They're like Supreme. Well, it looks wonderful. Easy concept, easy design. It looks slick, but the quality is ass. That's Jamaica right now. They are Supreme FC. All this hype, all this notoriety. Oh, we got Leon Bailey, Damari Gray, Pinnock, Andre Blake. Even though I love Blake, the goalkeeper. I think he's an outstanding goalkeeper. We got all these players. Oh, we're going to do something, Michael. Oh, we're going to qualify to the World Cup. You just look at the performances. One, the problem is the midfield has zero control. Zero. There's no combination play. Especially against Guatemala. They could not string even 3 passes together. It's like the chemistry is at an all-time low. But they performed well against Guatemala in the World Cup qualifiers. To go from that to this is astonishing. Now, how much can you blame Steve McClaren? Of course, Steve McClaren should take some accountability tactically for how he set up against Guatemala and how he set up against Guadeloupe. I really can't blame him against Panama because I think the players let him down with their poor finishing. But Steve McClaren will get some heat for these performances. But I'll say it again. I heard the exact same thing for Topper Whitmore. Oh, Topper, get him out. Everything will change. Yes, Topper Whitmore was basically the Jamaican Frank Lampard. But yeah, they had some decent results, but the team were not going to be competitive in CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. Jamaica were not going to qualify to the World Cup in 2022. That wasn't going to happen. Hogginson, he plays negative football. We're not going to get any results. You beat Canada away. You almost beat USA in the Nations League. Yes, the Copa America didn't go so well, but come on. You're in a group with Ecuador, Venezuela, and Mexico. What were you expecting if you were Jamaica? Realistically, now you have to just be realistic and understand you were not getting out of that group and you were almost certainly going to finish last. And now Steve McClaren comes in. Now, with Steve McClaren, some of the results and performances have been horrific. 1-0 win over British Virgin Islands. Really? They drew 1-1 with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They drew 1-1 with Trinidad. Even though it's a rivalry, we can excuse it. The game against USA in the Nations League, that was terrible, especially away from home. Wow, they were shockingly bad. Other results, 0-0 with Cuba. The list goes on and on and on. It's just been underwhelming with Steve McClaren. But it's been underwhelming with this federation and national team for the past 5 years since I've been covering international football on this channel. It's been just a revolving door. But I think now, with this Gold Cup exit in the group stage, and it's the first time since 2009 that Jamaica don't even make it out of the group stage of a Gold Cup, this is now getting bad. And heading into the World Cup qualifiers, because yes, Jamaicans want to do well at the Gold Cup, but all their eggs are into the World Cup qualifiers that we need to qualify to the World Cup. Based on what I've seen the past year with Steve McClaren, based on what we just seen in the Gold Cup, if you're Curaçao, you're licking your lips, you're like, hey, we can beat these guys. These guys are frauds. For the amount of hype they get, they just play such average football. Leon Bailey was an outstanding player at Bayer Leverkusen. He hasn't lived up to the hype. He just looks very average with the Jamaican national team. Demarai Gray had a great start with the Reggae Boys. I don't know what's happened to him recently. He has fallen off a cliff. Ethan Pinnock, I think he was absolutely awful during this Gold Cup. I don't think Steve McClaren has a clue what he's doing. And I don't think the players know what he's trying to do either. They're just bumping heads with each other with no conclusion. It is just so poor watching them play. But that's been the same thing for the past 5 years. Okay, you sack Steve McClaren right now if you're the Reggae Boys because it's a panic situation ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. There's going to be no preparation, right? You have no friendlies, straight into World Cup qualifiers in September. Is it the best idea to bring in a new manager? One manager that is free is John Herman, the former Canada manager who obviously guided Canada to their first World Cup in a long time. And he's a very good manager. I think he balances well with playing attacking football and getting the best out of players. You know, obviously he brought Canada to the status to where they are at the moment. Obviously Jesse Marsh is trying to take it to the next step. But John Herman built the bricks for the foundation of the house. Can he come in and save this team? I mean, Jamaica are so lucky. And I'm telling you right now, they are so lucky for the group they have in World Cup qualifiers. Because if they had Group A with Guatemala and Suriname, they're not qualifying. You have to just speak facts sometimes and say they're not good enough. And they need a radical change ASAP. Otherwise, Jamaicans will once again be angered with the players and most certainly with the federation, because it just seems the federation went with Steve McClaren because he has connections with England and he could get more English players with Jamaican descent into the national team. How about tactics? How about tactics? How about galvanizing the players together to feel a sort of love and a sort of appreciation for wearing this shirt? Looking at this shirt, the design of it, this is an old school design from Umbro. I would feel proud. Jamaica, let's take them back to where they belong. First time to qualify for the World Cup since 1998. These players are like, no, we just show up and we're cool with it. There's no pride with these players. I'm sorry, there isn't. With Steve McClaren, it seems like there's no pride with him either. But they said the same thing for Hogginson. They said the same thing for Topper Whitmore. So that's kind of my issue here for Jamaica. It's a revolving door that will keep on going and going and going until they find that one guy who can change it all. That one singular person who can understand Jamaican football, Jamaican culture, and blend it in together with the players. And finally, they can play some good football. Because on paper, when you have players in the Premier League and the Championship, like the Championship is a very good level of football. Yet they are playing USL style of football. And USL level of football are these Jamaicans. Is that how it should be? Come on now. This is not how Jamaica as a national team should be playing. And I think going out in the group stage of the Gold Cup is actually an excellent thing. And getting a beatdown, belt to ass sort of performance by Panama, a rotated Panama, is probably the wake-up call this federation and these players needed. This is the beauty of international football for me sometimes. You can have an amazing team on paper, but it doesn't correlate to you performing very well on the field. And that's Jamaica are the prime example of this. All these players, like Nigeria, all these wonderful attacking players, all these wonderful players in defense, but it has to show something on the field. Jamaica, they have all these wonderful talents, all these wonderful players. They can't do anything on the field. And I'm really worried for them heading into these World Cup qualifiers in September. Like I said, Curaçao are right now licking their lips. I know Curaçao went out in the group stage of the Gold Cup. They didn't look the greatest against Honduras. They were missing both the Bacuna brothers. But Curaçao absolutely outplayed Canada. One of the top 3 teams right now in CONCACAF. If I'm Jamaica, I'm shaking my boots. Because if you miss this World Cup with the expanded spots there is in the CONCACAF region, oh boy, heads are going to roll in the JFF headquarters. And I'm looking really at Leon Bailey and Demarai Gray. The fall off of these 2 guys with the Reggae Boys in recent months and the last year is astonishingly bad. I know the midfield cannot control games, and defensively they have been a liability, but they attack. The one thing that they have all the talent in is wasteful. There's no creativeness. There's no ingenuity with their play. This could be a wake-up call for the Reggae Boys, or it could be the end of this national team. Because this year is one of the most crucial years in Jamaican football history. Either you qualify to the World Cup or you miss it once again with a group with Curaçao, Trinidad, and Bermuda. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. Why are Jamaica falling apart right now? Do you have confidence in them qualifying to the World Cup, or do you think now Curaçao have overtaken them in the rankings for Group B of World Cup qualifiers? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around there, as we will be covering the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers starting in September. Remember to follow me on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, join the Discord, all those links in the description down below. But have a beautiful day, stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time. Adios.